He built a $1 billion empire with his bare hands. She stood by him through every storm. But the real shock? She was planning his death. What he did next left the world speechless. Stay with us, because the truth you're about to uncover will challenge everything you believe about love, loyalty, and revenge. Before we begin this powerful story, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss our life-changing content. If this story resonates with you, please like and share the channel. Here, it's more than just storytelling. Every episode delivers a meaningful message to inspire, uplift, and transform. Millionaire Special Forces vet uncovers wife's murder plot. What he did next shocked the world. My name is Aaron Kane. I built my empire from nothing. Not from a garage, but from a battlefield. Before the private jets and billion-dollar contracts, I was just a broken soldier, with nothing but scars, and a head full of ghosts. I served 12 years in special forces. Lost men I called brothers. Survived ambushes in deserts, where the silence screamed louder than bullets. When I came home, I had no home, no purpose, no peace, until I met her, Sophia. She was not just beautiful. She was quiet strength in human form. The kind of woman who looked you in the eye and made you feel seen. She worked nights at a trauma clinic, sewing up wounds that life had torn open. And somehow, she stitched me together too. We married within a year. She believed in me when I did not believe in myself. Helped me build the first security firm. Out of a rusted storage unit in South Carolina. She handled the books. I handled the jobs. One client at a time. One mission at a time. 5 years later, we were global. Tech, defense, crypto, real estate, security consulting for world leaders. I became the Aaron Kane, a veteran turned visionary. The media called me the billionaire operator. But none of it meant anything without Sophia. At least, that is what I thought. Until I found the envelope. It was slipped under my office door. No name. Just my initials. AC. Scrawled in thick black ink. Inside. Photos. Grainy. Surveillance style. My wife. Meeting someone in a parking garage. A man I recognized. Damien Leclerc. French black market arms broker. One of the dirtiest names in global intel. They were not just talking. They were exchanging something. A flash drive. Cash. And then came the note. She wants you dead. Before the merger. Check your own security logs. My hands shook. My chest felt like it was caving in. I rewound every moment in my mind. Every kiss. Every word. Every late night back rub. Every I love you. Was it all calculated? I locked my office. Dug into our internal system. Triple encrypted logs no one else had access to. But she had them. She had my codes. Because I trusted her. 3 weeks prior. A silent ping on our biometric perimeter system. An override of the home's AI lockdown protocol. Executed remotely. From her device. A fake break-in. Masked as a system glitch. I replayed the camera footage. 4 men. Armed. Professionals. In and out within 90 seconds. But they were not there to steal. They were there to survey. To map. To plan. To kill. I could feel my mouth go dry. I had planned hundreds of ops in my life. This was surgical. And it was coming from my own home. From her. I did not confront her. Not immediately. Because deep down, some part of me refused to believe it. Instead, I built a trap. The kind of trap only a ghost could build. I activated my old protocols. Former contacts. Ex-French intelligence. CIA burn phones. Anonymous shell firms. I watched her. Every move. Every smile. Every hug. I was studying a woman I once loved. Like she was a target in a foreign war zone. And that realization broke me. One night, she came into the bedroom, wearing the same silk nightgown. She wore the night we first made love. She curled next to me, pressed her cheek to my chest, and whispered, "You are so quiet lately. What are you thinking?" I stared at the ceiling. I wanted to say, "I am thinking you are the reason my heart is bleeding." But instead, I said, "Just business." She kissed my jaw and said, "I love you, Aaron." That night, I watched her sleep, watched the rise and fall of her breath, the slight twitch of her eyelids, the way her fingers curled over the sheets. And I remembered every reason I once believed she saved me. But the man I used to be, he died in Kandahar. Now, I had to finish a mission I never wanted. The next day, I made a public announcement. $1 billion merger with a Dubai-based firm. The final piece of my legacy. It was bait. And she took it. That night, she made a call from the greenhouse. Thought she was alone. But the phone was tapped. She said one sentence. "He will be in the car at 6:30 a.m. Make it look like a gas leak." I felt something cold and metallic wrap around my spine. Not fear. Not anger. Something deeper. Like grief sharpened into steel. I did not cancel the car. I set the timer. Left my watch on the dashboard. Drove to the secondary location by foot. Watched from a satellite-linked drone as the vehicle exploded in a fireball that lit up the morning sky. Everyone thought I was dead. Even Sophia. And that is when the real story began. She fell to her knees. When the news broke, the explosion made national headlines. Billionaire CEO Aaron Kane dies in fiery crash. Every outlet ran with it. Photos of me. In uniform. In boardrooms. On magazine covers. The world mourned. Stocks tanked. Sympathy poured in. But I was watching. Alive. Silent. Hiding in plain sight. From an off-grid military safe house in Montana, I watched her play the grieving widow. She cried at the press conference. Wore black. Held my dog tags. I lost the love of my life. She said through trembling lips. My men sent me the footage. Over and over. I watched her lips move. Her tears fall. Her lies spread. But then came the twist. I did not prepare for. She did not cash in my insurance. She did not flee the country. She did not contact Damien again. Instead, she locked herself in our home. 4 days. No contact. No media. And then, she showed up at my mother's grave. Alone. No security. No press. No entourage. She brought lilies. My mother's favorite. She knelt in the dirt and whispered something I could barely catch. Through the surveillance drone's mic. I never wanted this. I just wanted him to pay attention again. That line split something inside me. What did she mean? Was it guilt? Manipulation? Regret? I needed answers. But I could not show my face. Not yet. So I sent someone else. Her name was Mia. She was my first recruit. Back when the firm was nothing but a dream. Tough as nails. Smarter than me. And loyal enough to die for me. She showed up at the mansion, posing as a grief counselor. I watched the footage. In real time. As Sophia opened the door. With sunken eyes and trembling hands. Gone was the polished woman who once ran my books with military precision. Mia sat with her for over 3 hours. And what Sophia confessed changed everything. She was being blackmailed. Damien was not her partner. He was her captor. He had photos. Old ones. From before we met. She had been a courier. For a cartel-linked NGO. Forced into it after her father's medical debts. Pushed their family into the hands of criminals. She thought she had escaped. Changed her name. Built a new life. But Damien knew. And he resurfaced. Right before the merger. If I do not help him, he will expose everything, she told Mia. And Aaron, he will never forgive me. She begged Damien to spare me. But the orders were clear. My death would destabilize the market and allow a quiet asset grab across my entire portfolio. She said she planted the drive under duress. But the attack? She never wanted it to happen. She had tried to pull out, tried to warn me, but Damien had leverage and goons who watched her every move. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen, my pulse a slow drumbeat in my ears. Had I condemned the one woman who actually saved me? Or was she playing both sides? I needed the truth. Not secondhand. Not through agents. Face to face. So I did the one thing a dead man should never do. I returned. Not in public. Not at the estate. But at the place it all began. A small cabin by the lake, where I proposed to her. Under a thunderstorm. I left a note. Unsigned. Just an address. And one word. Truth. She came. Alone. Hair tied back. Eyes swollen. She stood at the door, as if seeing a ghost. And then, I opened it. She gasped. Her knees gave out. She grabbed my shirt, like a woman drowning. And she said something I will never forget. I died too, Aaron. The day you did. Her voice cracked. Her body trembled. And for the first time in years, I saw the girl underneath the armor. The girl who had been surviving. Long before I met her. I held her. But my heart was still at war. Because love was not the same as trust. And some wounds could not be healed with tears. So I asked her, tell me everything. No lies. No filters. No games. She nodded, took a deep breath, and finally began her story. A story that would unravel the truth, expose secrets I never saw coming, and force me to choose between vengeance and forgiveness. She sat across from me, hands clasped, voice shaking, eyes locked to mine, like a woman clinging to her last breath of air. And then she began. When I was 19, my father was dying. Pancreatic cancer. No insurance. No help. Hospitals wanted signatures. Banks wanted blood. And I had nothing but desperation. She paused. Tears welled. But she did not look away. I was recruited by a non-profit in Haiti. They promised clean water projects, education for kids, hope for communities. But they lied. It was a front. A cover for weapons transport. I was a mule. A courier. Unknowingly moving weapons across borders. Hidden in relief crates. I clenched my jaw. Fists tight. My body knew how to fight terrorists. But this was war of a different kind. I found out the truth. Tried to leave. They threatened to kill my brother. I kept working. For 2 more years. Then one day, the DEA raided a safe house. I got out. Faked my identity. Started over. Aaron, when I met you, I was already running. She exhaled. Like a decade of silence. Was finally leaving her lungs. I loved you. I still do. But when Damien showed up 5 months ago, he said he had photos, files, customs logs, and a video of me in Panama. He said he would destroy you. If I did not help him, he would bury you with my past. She broke then, head in hands, voice cracking. I tried to warn you. The flowers on the terrace that day, they were not just flowers. They were a signal. From me. I coded it. Just like we used to. Color sequence. Blue. Red. Yellow. Remember? Cancel the mission. Target compromised. My stomach turned. I did remember. It was an old ops signal we created during our startup days, when encryption was too risky. I had seen the flowers, but I was too distracted, too suspicious, too cold. She had tried, and I missed it. Sophia stood and walked to the window. Moonlight washed over her, like a spotlight on a tragic stage. I never wanted your empire. I just wanted you. The real you. The man who slept on the floor of that tiny storage unit, woke up at 5 a.m. and kissed my forehead before every client pitch. She turned, and for the first time, she was not the woman I thought I knew. She was not a traitor, not a pawn, not even a victim. She was a survivor. But my trust was shattered glass, and no truth, no matter how painful, could put the pieces back clean. I said nothing, just looked at her. Then I asked the one question that burned in my chest since the day of the explosion. If I never found that envelope, would you have told me? Her lips trembled, and she said, I would have died trying. Silence, thick, heavy, and full of things neither of us could say. And then, my satellite phone buzzed. Encrypted ping. Priority 1. A breach. Not at the cabin. Not in the city. But at one of my private labs in Zurich. Data wiped. Guards drugged. Only one thing taken. Project Citadel. A prototype. That should never have existed. And the one person who had full access to that vault was me. Or someone. Using my biometric ghost signature. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, because only 2 people in the world knew that code. Me and Sophia. I turned the phone over, laid it face down on the table, and looked at her. She was still by the window, eyes distant, like she felt the air shift, but did not yet know why. I stood slowly. Zurich was hit. Her head snapped toward me. Confusion first, then fear. What? Project Citadel is gone. Her lips parted, barely breathing. Her hands dropped to her sides. Gone? But how? Only 2 people had access. And if it was not me, that left a chilling possibility. She stepped forward, shaking her head. I have not been near Zurich in over a year. I do not even remember the codes. She was lying, not with her mouth, but with her body. I had interrogated enough people to know when the truth was dancing on the edge of fear. You never forget those codes, I said quietly. Not when they are burned into your brain. To protect something this dangerous. She swallowed hard, then spoke. It was not me. I stared at her, longer, deeper, until she broke the silence. It was my sister. The name hit me, like a rifle round to the chest. Her sister, Anna. A ghost I thought was dead. A hacker. A former operative. A genius in cryptography. Who vanished after a failed sting in Prague. 7 years ago. Sophia had told me. She died in a raid. Killed in a back alley. During a double cross. But she had lied. You told me Anna was gone. She was supposed to be. What does that mean? Sophia sat down, her legs barely holding her weight. She came back last year. Burned. Scarred. Different. Said she had found something. A backdoor to global surveillance grids. Said we could fix everything. Stop the people who used us. Control the chaos instead of running from it. I felt my stomach twist. Because Citadel was not just any project. It was a self-adapting AI firewall, built to secure the most sensitive intelligence networks in the world. But in the wrong hands, it could turn those networks into weapons. She looked up at me. I told her no. I told her we had a life now, that I would not trade you for revenge. I stepped back. Everything spun. So she stole it herself? Sophia nodded slowly. She always hated that I found peace. Said I became soft. Said you made me forget what we were born into. I grabbed my phone, sent a silent code, Mobilize Tier 1. Track on a cane. 0 delay. Sophia reached for my arm. She does not want money, Aaron. She wants power. Control. And if she is in Zurich, it means she already has a buyer. I pulled away. My breath shallow. The pieces were falling too fast. Sophia was not my enemy. But she was the doorway to something far worse. I turned to the wall safe, spun the dial, opened the lock. Inside was a case. Black. Unmarked. I snapped it open, pulled out my gear. Gloves. Sidearm. Old military-grade encryption drives. And a silver chain. My brother's dog tags. Killed in my final tour. I tucked them into my vest. Because this was not just a mission anymore. This was family. And I had one rule. You do not touch what I love. Sophia stood behind me. I will help you stop her. I turned slowly. Do not offer what you are not willing to give. She stepped forward. You saved me once. Let me do the same. I looked into her eyes. The same eyes I had once looked into. Before my first big investor pitch. Before I became a billionaire. Before I knew betrayal. Maybe, just maybe, redemption begins. Where the lies end. I zipped the case shut. We leave in 1 hour. And just like that, the man they thought was dead began hunting a ghost to save the world from the fire he helped create. We landed in Zurich under darkness. No official flight plan. No customs. No trace. The jet was unmarked. The pilots were ghosts. The kind of team I used to run with. Before the world knew my name. Sophia sat across from me. Strapped in. Silent. She had not asked where we were going first. She already knew. The lab. Citadel's vault. Where the line between safety and supremacy had always been razor thin. I studied her. The way her fingers fidgeted. How her foot tapped then stilled. She was afraid. But not of me. Of what we might find. As we descended, Zurich sparkled beneath us. Deceptively calm. A city of order. Built over layers of quiet corruption. I had learned long ago. The most dangerous wars are fought in silence. With no uniforms. No flags. Just code, currency, and betrayal. We touched down on a private strip, built into the side of a mountain. The wind was sharp. Cold sliced through my coat, like a reminder that every step forward was a step into the past. The convoy was waiting. 2 armored SUVs. 1 scout bike. No insignias. No chatter. I nodded to the lead driver. He handed me a tablet. A blinking red dot. Movement detected. Inside Vault Sector 3. Not from the outside. From within. She was still there. Anna. We moved. Fast. Tires cutting through snow. Engines barely louder than a whisper. Sophia rode beside me. Helmet on. Eyes forward. I know how she thinks, she said. She will have backups. False trails. Fail-safes. Then we cut every one of them, I replied. The vault came into view. A brutalist block of reinforced steel. Buried deep into alpine stone. Access required dual authentication. 1 biometric. 1 neural code. Only I could open it. Unless someone had copied my brain print. Inside the entrance, the air was heavy. Sterile. Fluorescent lights flickered. Emergency protocol triggered. My men secured the outer corridors. No bodies. No resistance. Just silence. Until we reached the core. And there, projected across the main vault screen, a video. Pre-recorded. Time-stamped 12 hours ago. Anna's face. Older. Burned on the right side. Hair short. Eyes colder than ice. She looked into the camera. If you are watching this, brother-in-law, then you are alive. Good. Because I need you to understand. You were never the target. The world was. She leaned closer. You built the firewall. I built the key. And now, I am going to use it to burn down the house you tried to protect. The screen glitched. Static. Then coordinates. Beijing. Istanbul. Lagos. New York. All glowing. All marked access granted. Sophia gasped. No, she decrypted it. She is lighting matches in every system we ever secured, I muttered. Anna's voice returned. One final message. You cannot stop the storm, Aaron. But maybe, if you are fast enough, you can choose where it hits first. The screen went black. And I knew. This was not about one AI. Or one betrayal. This was about rewriting the rules. Of global power. Through me. Through Sophia. Through the past. We thought we had buried. I looked at my team. Then at Sophia. We are out of time. And in that moment, I realized, saving the world might not mean stopping Anna. It might mean beating her to her next move, and trusting the woman who once nearly destroyed me, to now save me all over again. I turned to Sophia. Her face was pale, but her eyes, they were clear, focused. What would Anna target first? I asked. She hesitated, then replied, the financial hubs. She does not want chaos. She wants control. If she triggers a collapse, it forces a shift from old power structures to the ones she controls. My blood went cold. She is not crashing the world. She is rebooting it. The screen behind us blinked again. One new location appeared. Dubai. No timestamp. Just a code. Nexus. Online. My heart pounded. I knew that word. Nexus was a classified prototype. A fusion of Citadel with deep learning behavioral mapping. It could predict not only threats, but decisions, movements, even revolutions. It was supposed to be shut down, locked behind a wall of ethical firewalls. And only one copy existed. Mine. Sophia looked at me horrified. You kept it. I buried it. Off-grid. Encrypted. Air-gapped. Then how did she find it? And that is when it hit me. The answer was not in Zurich. It was in me. Anna had accessed my neural imprint. Not by hacking. Not by force. But through the only person who ever shared my heartbeat. Sophia. You wore the ring, didn't you? I whispered. Her hand flew to it. A sleek, black titanium band. I gave her 2 years ago. Built with a tiny pulse sync transmitter. A token of love. And a biometric key. She pulled it off. Stared at it. Like it had betrayed her too. I never knew, she said. Anna must have used it to mirror your neural signature. I stepped away. Paced the cold floor. The walls felt tighter now. So she used your ring to access my vault, download Nexus, and deploy it worldwide. Sophia spoke softly. She used me, just like everyone else has. I stopped pacing, looked at her, not with suspicion, but with pain, because I knew what that felt like. Then we stop her, I said. Together. She nodded, but something in her face shifted. Resolve, mixed with guilt. And then she whispered, there is something else. I waited, silent, still. When Anna disappeared, she left behind a daughter. My breath caught. She looked away. She is 10 now. Anna never told anyone. But when she came back, she said she would do anything to give her a future. The pieces clicked. Too fast. Too sharp. Anna was not just rewriting power. She was rewriting legacy. For her child. I turned to the screen. Coordinates. Patterns. A timeline. The world had 6 days. Maybe less. And only one man. Who could predict her next step? Because she had built her entire plan, using his mind as the model. Mine. I turned to Sophia. Then we find the girl. She looked up, tears rising. You really think Anna would bring her into this? No, I said, but she would build for her. And that means her daughter is not just a motive. She is the blueprint. I opened a secure line, punched in the encrypted satellite relay, activated facial shielding across my biometric feed. If Anna had used my neural signature to unlock Citadel, then there was a deeper layer she was working through. Something only she, or someone intimately linked to her, could evolve. That someone was her daughter. Sophia sat beside me, her hands shaking slightly, as she slid a drive across the console. I kept this. A photo of her. Her name is Lila. I stared at it. A girl with midnight curls. Eyes too old for her age. Eyes like Anna's, but with a softness that did not come from war. Where is she? I asked. Sophia hesitated. Somewhere in northern Spain. Anna moved her every few months. Never used the same school. No digital trail. No medical records. Nothing. I nodded slowly. That meant Anna was preparing. Not just to release Nexus, but to pass it on. This was not revenge. It was succession. She built all this. Not to destroy the world, I said quietly, but to raise her daughter inside a new one. Sophia leaned forward. But what kind of world, Aaron? One controlled by algorithms? Where she decides who rises and who falls. I looked at the screen again. The blinking dot in Dubai was gone. Now replaced with a live feed. Somewhere underground. A steel-walled bunker. Monitors glowing. And at the center of it all, Lila. She was typing. Wearing a headset. Guided by someone out of frame. A voice crackled through the feed. Lila, you must initiate Sector 7B. Do not worry about the others. You are smarter than all of them. It was Anna. I recognized her tone. Soft, encouraging, but sharp as a scalpel beneath the words. She's grooming her, I muttered. Programming a human mind. To finish what the AI starts. Sophia touched my arm. If we reach her first, maybe we can stop this. Not with bullets, but with truth. I stared at the feed. At the girl who never asked for this. At the storm she was being trained to unleash. Then I spoke the one phrase I had not said in years. Activate Echo Protocol. Sophia gasped. You said you would never use that again. I said I would never need to. Echo Protocol was my last resort. A silent network of deep cover assets. Trained to track patterns. Outside of government reach. Invisible. Loyal. Deadly. And they owed me. From wars no one spoke of. From deals made in shadows. I typed the command. A single phrase. Locate, Lila Kane. Do not engage. Confirm extraction viability. Within seconds, 4 relays lit up. Madrid, Valencia, Bilbao, and Tangier. 1 pinged green. Viable contact. Unconfirmed Guardian presence. That was our window. And it was small. I turned to Sophia. If we do not reach her in time, Anna will finish uploading Nexus and seed it into quantum satellites. After that, it becomes unstoppable. Not just a virus. A new operating system. For human behavior. Sophia's voice broke. She will be hunted. By every agency. Every power that loses control. Lila will never know peace. Unless we give her a choice, I said. I looked back at the drive. Back at the girl. Not the weapon. Not the project. But the child. Anna was playing the long game. But she forgot one thing. I never lose. When I fight for someone who never asked to be in the war. And this time, I was not alone. Sophia stood beside me. Not as an enemy. Not as a mistake. But as the reason. I still knew what it meant. To protect something worth breaking for. I holstered my weapon, secured the drive, and walked toward the exit. The snow was falling again. But this time, it felt like a beginning. One girl, one chance, one decision. That would determine the fate of billions. And only hours left to make it. We found her on the edge of a cliffside compound near Tangier, a fortress disguised as a school. Steel walls behind smiling teachers, guard dogs beneath marble courtyards, everything hidden in plain sight. But what struck me most was her face. Lila. She looked nothing like a threat. She looked like a girl, reading books too thick for her age, typing code into screens too bright for her eyes, carrying a burden too heavy for her shoulders. She had Anna's fire and Sophia's heart. But more than anything, she had no idea what she was being turned into. I posed as a visiting security consultant. The school had seen diplomats, tech founders, generals. I was just another name on paper. When I walked into the observation room, Lila looked up at me. Her eyes did not widen. She did not smile. She only said, "You are the man from the file." I nodded, sat across from her. "I am Aaron," I said. "Your uncle." She tilted her head. "No one ever told me you were alive." "They did not know." She folded her arms. "They say you are the reason my mother is in hiding." I swallowed the knot in my throat. "She is in hiding because of her choices. But you are not your mother. You still have yours to make." Lila leaned forward. "If I do not finish the upload, the world goes back to being ruled by liars. People like the ones who hurt her. People like you." That stung. But I let it pass. Because pain is part of truth. I opened my briefcase, slid a drive across the table. This is the other half of Nexus. The original key. The failsafe Anna never had. Lila looked at it, puzzled. "What does it do?" "It gives you a choice." She stared at me, eyes narrowing. "No one ever gave me a choice." And I nodded. "That ends today." The room went silent, except for the wind pushing against the glass. Somewhere far behind, Sophia stood watching. A mother who had once lost everything, now fighting quietly to save someone else's daughter. Lila picked up the drive, studied it, like it was more than plastic and code, like it was a key to her future. Then she said, "If I do this, what happens to everything she built?" I leaned in. "It ends. But something better can begin. Something that you build. Without fear. Without manipulation. Without blood on your hands." She looked at me again. And for the first time, I saw a child. Not a hacker. Not a prodigy. Not a project. Just a child. Tired of being a tool. In someone else's war. And then, she pressed delete. The screen blinked. The core data began to unravel. Nexus shut down. Globally. Like it was never there. I breathed for the first time in hours. Not because the danger was gone, but because the right thing had been done. Later that night, as the sun set behind the Moroccan hills, I sat on the rooftop with Sophia and Lila. No guards. No guns. Just silence. And a girl who had finally been set free. Moral of the story: no matter how powerful we become, no matter how much pain we carry, we are always one choice away from redemption. The world does not need more control. It needs more courage to let go. Sophia taught me that love is not about who never fails you. It is about who chooses to stay when the truth is hardest to face. And Lila taught me that even the most dangerous code can be rewritten if we dare to give someone the chance to write it themselves. Thank you for being a part of this heartfelt journey. If this story touched your heart, we invite you to share it leave a comment, and remind someone today. You are never alone.